A kumbhak which can take you out of chronic disease, basically. A root is astika. Astika means unlimited. Nastika means limited. So by holding your breath, you are doing a dynamic activity. How does cloud go from one place to another? Pressure creating mechanism within your body is kumbhak. Nothing works in this universe without pressure. You delay the eating process. Is the person dead or alive? The first organization that I started with Mr. Navneet Kapoor, and we wanted to teach Kumbak to come out of disease. The Kumbhak which can take you out of chronic disease, basically. Right. Astika word by itself means unlimited. When we say Astika and Nastika, these are two words. We are pronouncing it as Astika. A root is Astika. Astika means unlimited. Nastika means limited. Okay. So, if we say somebody is Nastika, he has limited his life to certain things. Okay. So, his experience of life will always be limited. If you want to have an unlimited experience of life, if the want is there, then you are Astika. Right? Yeah. Now, let's see, how do you experience life? How do you experience life? You'll have to throw a little energy to experience anything. Yeah. Experience happens through activities, through dynamics of life. The dynamics of life is basically creating experience for everybody. This dynamics can be experienced through 5 senses. Yeah. Right? So through 5 senses, you are experiencing your life. But without dynamics, these senses will not work. Without sound, what will you hear? Yeah. Yeah. Right? Makes sense. So the dynamics makes you experience life through 5 senses. But how does the dynamics happen? So, should we do some experiment also along with our talk so that you get it? So, suppose a person is not able to move, no dynamic activity. Yeah. Is the person dead or alive?
Alive, but in a limited sense.
If the person is not breathing,
then dead for sure.
So, dynamism. Breathing is also dynamism. Yeah. If there is no dynamic activity, the person is dead. If there is a dynamic activity, the person is alive. Yeah. But this activity, any kind of a dynamic activity, how does it happen? We can also say dynamism is life. Right? So let's take some very basic examples. Now, you want to do an activity. Say the activity of pull. You want to pull somebody. It's a dynamic activity. Yeah. How do you pull? So, will you clasp your fingers and try to pull hard? How do you pull? How do you pull? Pull hard and see how do you pull. What is your understanding about it? How you are doing it?
I'm just putting force here
and many people who would do this will have a lot of different ideas. My mind, my nervous system, this and that. But we are not looking at the root of dynamism. So let's do it again. And wherever I'm indicating, just look there. Right? Okay. Let's pull it hard. The more harder you want to pull, you have to hold your breath more. Yes? Right. True? Okay, let's do another dynamic activity. Let's push. Okay. So let's push like this. Push hard. See behind. Are you holding your breath?
Yeah.
Yes. So without holding your breath, you can't pull and push.
Yes, That's true.
And that's true. So without holding your breath, actually you cannot do any dynamic. If you have to jump, what do? You hold your breath and jump. If you want to lift a weight, how do you lift a weight?
Yeah.
By holding your breath,
Right.
isn't it? So by holding your breath, you are doing a dynamic activity. Without holding, there cannot be a dynamic activity. The holding factor is called as Kumbhak.
Okay.
Right? So without Kumbhak, there cannot be a dynamic activity. Now let me explain it in a more acceptable terms, what we call a science today.
Yeah.
Right? So, as per science, any kind of dynamic activity happens in a pressure gradient.
Okay.
If there will be a pressure difference, there will be a dynamic activity.
Right.
For example, how does cloud go from one place to another? From high pressure to low pressure.
Yes.
How does water move up a tree? From high pressure to low pressure.
Right.
Pressure creating mechanism within your body is Kumbhak. You can create pressure through breath hold only. So Kumbhak in a human body is a pressure creating mechanism, but it is also there in the universe.
Right.
Now the another aspect of it is temperature. According to science, pressure and temperature are the two things that actually does any kind of material management in the world. Pressure also creates temperature. You go down the earth, high temperature because there will be high pressure. You go up,
There's low pressure.
low pressure, low temperature. So these two things are correlated.
Right.
Pressure, temperature. Ayurveda calls it Vata and Pitta. Pressure is Vata,
I've heard about this, yes.
right?
Yes.
And Pitta is temperature. So your body has a pressure ecosystem and a thermal ecosystem,
Yeah.
which largely is called as Vata and Pitta. If these two things work together, they does material management within your body. The food that you eat metabolizes because of pressure and temperature.
Okay.
The food basically is kapha.
Food is kapha.
Food is kapha. So Vata, Pitta, kapha.
Kapha. Yes.
And these three things primarily gets regulated through Vata, pressure.
Okay.
But the pressure creating mechanism is Kumbhak. Now, nothing works in this universe without pressure. I will say nothing works in this universe without Kumbhak. Controlling factor of any dynamic activity is Kumbhak. Be it a physical activity or a subtle activity like mental activity. So I'll also explain it in a different manner. I explained it in two ways. Now let me explain it in a different manner. Suppose you feel hunger and you want to control hunger. What do? You will not eat,
Yeah.
isn't it? So that is called as langhanam. You delay the eating process.
Okay.
Right? You delay the eating process and you try to control your hunger. That's how we try to control your hunger
Right.
or our hunger. So this hunger control, controlling something is Kumbhak. So Langhanam is Kumbhak for hunger. Now, you want to control your mind, say. You want to control your mind. So how do you control your mind? By not thinking or by keeping mauna. There is a word called mauna. A person who becomes mauna is called as muni.
Okay.
Right? So if you control your mind to such an extent where thinking is not required or it becomes a conscious process. So mauna is the Kumbhak for mind. You want to actually see every activity within the body is regulated by the breath or gets an impression on the breath. If there is a problem in your body, your breath will give you that
Indication.
indication, and you can see that impression on the breath. You change the breath, you can change the activity within the body. But the control of breath is breath kumbhak. You hold your breath, and that's how you will be able to control the process of breathing. Right? The process of breathing can be controlled by breath kumbhak.
Right.
Then comes something called as the energy flow or the prana flow. Right? Prana has basically two aspects. The prana can be physical and non-physical. When we are talking here, we are more inclined to talking about something that we can understand. So, something which is physical in nature.
Right.
So, prana can also be controlled by prana kumbhak, holding the prana in a certain way. Now, also, you know that you have certain tendencies that you have created in the past, and it still exists.
This the behaviors.
In terms of how you react to things, what you think when something happens outside. So you have a tendency.
Right. A programming of
A programming which has been created in the past.
Yeah.
You are holding the programming within yourself. There is no specific place for it. See, even for the mind, if I tell you, where is your mind? You will not be able to pinpoint it because it is across.
Yeah.
It is across. The pressure ecosystem of your body is mind.
Yeah.
Right? Similarly, prana. Prana basically is a life flow, which if you control it, you can control through prana kumbhak. If you want to control your karma, the tendency is also called as karma or prarabdha, an allotted tendency. It is also karma.
Yeah.
Now you want to create karma. How do you create karma? By doing action. But doing an action can create a karma as well as break a karma. So Kumbhak can create something as well as break something. For example, I'll take a very simple example. Now you know bundi laddu.
Anji.
So there is bundi and you want to make laddu. How will you make laddu? What kind of mantra? Laddu mantra.
Paste like material so it sticks together.
But how do you do it?
Break it into smaller parts.
No. Just see, if I tell you to make laddu out of bundi, can you recite a mantra and laddu will come? No. The mantra will not work. Manifestation, will it work? Will it work?
May the laddu be with me. No.
No, it will not work. Right? Any kind of thought process, ideas will not work.
Right.
Only if you pick up a little bundi and then press it to make laddu. How do you press? You are doing kumbhak. You hold your breath and press.
Yeah.
So this force, a regulated force, will be able to make laddu through creating the right amount of pressure.
Right.
Now laddu comes up. There is a laddu that you make. You want to break it. How do you do it? Again, you have to apply pressure more than what is required to make. Isn't it?
Right.
So, in both the process, you are doing kumbhak. But to make, you are doing a different intensity of kumbhak in a different manner.
Right.
For breaking it, you are doing different intensity of kumbhak in a different manner.
Right.
If you want to break the process of life, that is called as yoga. If you want to come out of the process of life, that is called as yoga. If you want to make something and retain it for a certain period of time, that is called as Ayurveda. Yes, Ayurveda means the life of that particular thing. You want to retaining or try to maintaining the life of a certain object or living being. Ayu, that is called as Ayu.
Yeah.
Ayu means lifespan of anything.
Yes.
Right? Ayurveda means the science of retaining or maintaining life for a certain span of time.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are two different areas of work. Somebody who wants to come out of the process of life, that person has to choose the path of yoga. Somebody wants to empower their life, retain life for a certain period of time, and make it better, then he has to understand the process of the process of Ayurveda. Now, Kumbhak is the key controlling factor for both the things. For maintaining life, Kumbhak is the controlling key. For coming out of the process of life, Kumbhak is the controlling key. So, Kumbhak can be used in yoga, kalachara, and Kumbhak can be used in Ayurvedic kalachara to improve the quality of life. Now, in Ayurveda, the king of Ayurveda is Kumbhak. And the king is not sitting on the throne. And we can just imagine taking Ayurveda to the world, it will not work. We have to actually put the king at the right place.
Yeah.
So Kumbhak needs to be brought in to empower life, to even create treatments, to come out of any kind of subtle issues like mental issues, psychological issues, through a different process of creating life.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, only Yoga Kalachara has this mention of Kumbhak. Right? That's why we thought it is very, very essential and imperative and urgently required.
Yeah.
Because you see, every kind of disease is increasing in the world.
Yes.
You'll not believe, at this point of time, 8 out of 10 people have some level and some kind of a mental issue. And we are not even able to define mind.
Yeah.
Chronic disease, you name it, diabetes, blood pressure, heart disease, thyroid, autoimmune disorder, taking up to cancer.
Yeah.
Everything is becoming epidemic. And let's ask the right question. In the last 100 years, with the current dispensation of treatment, methodology, we have not even been able to take even a single person out of diabetes. No proof. In 100 years, the current dispensation has not been able to treat even a single person. Now, not only diabetes, not a single blood pressure patient. Heart disease is number 1 cause of death at this point of time in the world. We have made it. With all the advancement that we say, the heart attack patients are increasing in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Thyroid, 25 years, 20 years back, we didn't even knew that there is something like thyroid issue. Just 2 to 3 generations back.
Yeah.
If we see, we have increased the intensity of disease in the world by more than 1,000%, say, in last 50 years, just 50 years. So if we are increasing every chronic disease, and let me say, only 20% of total disease are infectious in nature.
Yes.
80% problem are chronic in nature or non-infectious disease. That chronic disease, every kind of chronic disease, is just increasing. We haven't been able to treat even a single chronic disease patient in the last 100 years. That means we don't have even a single proof. That has not happened. So we are not treating disease. Then what are we doing? That means we are not even opening a different perspective of looking at disease.
Right.
We are just doing all kinds of research on a single line that started just 100 years back. So we'll have to break this monotonous pattern to look at disease from just single perspective.
Yeah.
To look at disease in terms of some biochemical changes, which we actually cannot reverse through some kind of medical intervention. And that too, let me tell you, will you put a diesel in a petrol vehicle?
No, of course not.
Never. Why? Because the petrol engine is designed for petrol fuel,
Right.
right? So let me ask you, are you designed for chemical consumption?
Those
No
particular-
chemicals that we artificially manufacture or synthetically made chemicals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you designed for chemical consumption?
No.
See, natural chemicals are biochemicals basically,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah.
So we are not designed for chemical consumption. But you'll have a first aid box at your home.
Yes.
And you are consuming chemicals from the state of infancy, where you have been put on some kind of an immunization and vaccination schedule,
Right.
right? When your body is not designed for chemical consumption, will your body become better by chemical consumption? Is it a common sense? But what do? People who have ruled this world for the last 300 years, they didn't have common sense. For example, a mango tree needs a certain amount of time
Yes.
and a certain amount of environment for growth and a certain kind of an indigenous breed of seed.
Yes.
If you change the seed, everything about it will change,
Yes.
right? Now, even the food that we have changed in terms of making it hybrid and the inorganic process, and we have processed it according to our taste and our need,
Right.
and then we have genetically modified it also. Do you think the body recognizes the changed food? Your body is a living entity, isn't it?
Yes.
Your body has been designed to correct itself, auto-correct itself, isn't it?
Yes.
But it needs the feed which it is designed for. It doesn't need the hybrid and the genetically modified. It will not recognize those things because body has a recognition factor.
Right.
Now we put something which the body doesn't recognize. Even if we pull out a particular kind of say from haldi, turmeric, if we pull out curcumin,
Yeah.
the body will not recognize it.
Okay.
Because it has been designed to recognize a certain set of chemicals which get produced through a natural process. You pull out one factor from it, the body takes it for a certain period of time and then starts repelling it. Because it doesn't recognize. Then we are forced pushing chemicals inside the body. If you force push something into a living entity, it is not called as treatment, it is called as torture. Now, for example, let me give you a very simple example. Everybody would have gone through some kind of a viral infection,
Yeah.
a cold, flu, or corona, or any kind of viral infection. Now, what does the body do to handle that viral infection? The body will increase the temperature, which we call as fever.
Yes.
So 5-degree rise of temperature can kill any virus. But even if it rises 1-2 degrees, what will you do?
Proper paracetamol.
Pop up paracetamol. You want to push down the fever because you have an idea or you are in fear. So you are stopping the process of life in some way. Every chemical works in two ways. By increasing some function within the body, by binding to certain receptors, or decreasing some function in the body by binding to some receptors.
Yeah.
Now, why do you want to go against the process of your body, what the body wants?
Because the discomfort maybe is too much.
You don't want the discomfort, you don't want the pain. So you are pushing down the process of healing of your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, after some time, your immunity will crash and you will get autoimmune disorder.
Yes.
So is it the right approach?
It's not.
It's not. Because you have lost the tolerance. You don't want even a simple soft pain. Because you don't have a tolerance towards it. Now let's understand what is tolerance. If you want to lift 10 kg weight or tolerate it, how do you do it? How do you tolerate 10 kg weight? By lifting it, keeping above you, or holding it. You hold your breath, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to lift 30 kg weight, you'll have to hold your breath more. So if you want to tolerate more, you improve the quality or you increase the intensity of Kumbak.
Yeah.
You are tolerating through Kumbak. So Kumbak is a tolerance factor of your body. And in the last just 2 to 3 generations, we have lost tolerance in a huge manner. If you have lost tolerance with a simple change outside, your body will get into some kind of difficulty.
Yeah.
And you will have to resort to some kind of chemical to actually being able to feel better. But this is not how life is lived. After some time, you'll not be able to live life because you are pushing down your immunity. You are pushing down the tolerance. You are pushing down the recovery strength of your body. For millions of years, we don't have the evidence that we have been taking a little support because we didn't used to get into chronic disease earlier.
Okay.
It was some kind of an injury, some kind of a bone being broken, or infection.
Yeah.
Right? Infection is something where something comes from outside into your body. Right? For that, you can take something and kill that. It's a war, basically.
Yeah.
So earlier we used to take some natural stuff. Now we are taking chemical stuff. But why don't we want to work on natural stuff more? Because ultimately, an unnatural thing, the body will try to resist it and create something called as tolerance towards it. Hmm. So if you are taking a chemical, earlier cockroaches used to be killed by DDT. Now cockroach dances on DDT. They have become DDT resistant.
Yeah.
Chemical antibiotics will always become resistant in some time. In 10 to 15 years, all the chemical antibiotics will become resistant to human body. What options do we have for them? We are going towards disaster. For millions of years, we don't have any evidence of people treating themselves for chronic disease in such proportion. So in the last 100 years, we have destroyed the whole ecosystem of health. And that too, because we are not thinking in the right line. That means we are not thinking about empowering the body to heal itself. Rather, we are thinking to resist the body doing something. So you are torturing the body, not empowering the body.
Right.
Empowering the body can happen through Kumbhak. And in today's time, if we do not bring Kumbhak in everybody's life, it will not become better. Write it down.